What's up, buddy? It's your boy Drift and Shinobi here, back for another episode of the Overnights Pod. Today we have something interesting to talk about. It is more gaming related stuff. Something kind of got announced that we want to talk about. I'm gonna go ahead and let Shinobi do his full intro, and then we'll go ahead and talk about the topic.
What's up, y'all? Shinobi Radixan. Pretty much just do YouTube.
Yep, as always, everything will be in the link in the description below for all his content. But the thing we're talking about, it feels like we've been talking about them a lot lately because it's just so controversial with a lot of changes going on. And we're bringing up Sony again. Today, Sony, well, not today, but a few days ago, Sony announced that they are no longer going to be doing discs for their games at all. Like, you'll no longer be able to buy physical copies going forward. We have an article with the exact date from the actual PlayStation vlog. I think they said it was going to be January 2028. So we still have the rest of this year, but sometime in January 2028, they will no longer be doing digital or physical copies of games, which means pre-orders and stuff are going to be a little different, I'm guessing. But we're going to go ahead and see how that changes. We're going to go ahead and talk about, what we think is a positive and negative for this, or not really a positive, but the negatives and how this can affect other gaming companies and stuff like that. So I'm going to go ahead and let Shinobi give off his first thoughts of how he perceives this announcement.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't really thought about it because I've been crying the past couple of days because of Mexico's loss. As of recording this, it's been like 2 days. But yeah, I think I first saw it on just like scrolling through like the YouTube. I think it was like a community post for somebody or something. Um, and I was going through the comments, and then one of them like really stuck out. It was kind of like a moment where that chick in Indiana Jones, when she touches the skull and her like head just like implodes because of all the knowledge. Because I didn't really think of that until they like actually brought it up. But they mentioned that all this started because of Steam, and I was like, wait a minute, they might be cooking because back in the day, I didn't have a PC in the house, but going out and like to like Walmart or like Best Buy and stuff, I remember them having like CDs for PC games, specifically for WoW. I don't know if any other ones did it like that. I mean, I would assume that they did.
Not for
It's
sure
just,
they
it's
did,
been so
yeah.
long. Yeah, it's been so long. But I remember seeing those, and I always remember seeing like ads for like the actual physical copies. Ever since then, though, I like anytime something releases for PC, the like my brain doesn't even like think of, oh, okay, there's a physical. Like it's just always been like digital, just because that's like how I like see the modern side of PC. So it was kind of interesting to like read that and kind of like reflect on that because maybe that was something that not just Sony but like any kind of gaming company was thinking about but never really fully committed to it, and maybe they just wanted to see how like Steam did in the long run, and like there's probably like other factors to it, but it's kind of like crazy to think that this wasn't a thing like sooner, because I feel like it's a lot cheaper for gaming companies because you don't have to push out all that product. You don't have to get any kind of like special like contract or any like favorable like promo stuff for like the physical aspect of it. So I don't know. I'm not a fan of not having like the physical because even like some Nintendo games now, when you pre-order a physical copy, it's literally just the box and then a code inside. It's not a cartridge anymore, which is kind of insane to even call it a physical copy and then just give you a code for it and just like give you a box for. for display. But I mean, I don't I just I'm concerned more about like now that it's digital, we don't fully own it, you know, and we've seen cases where games get shut down and companies are pretty much just like, oh, tough, like it is what it is. It was bound to happen eventually kind of thing. And that's with like physical stuff too. It's not even like with digital copies. It's just like servers in general for some games. And then you also have cases where like some DLCs are delisted or some games are delisted that if you didn't download at the time that you wanted to and now you're like, oh shit, like I should probably go back and get that. Like it's too late. So that's like my biggest concern is like now that we're paying, because I'm gonna assume that they're not gonna drop the prices, that it's just gonna stay the same, which is another like issue that I have. But we're gonna be paying like 80, 90 bucks for a game that we're essentially renting without knowing the return date, pretty much, which is just like it's ridiculous. It's absolutely crazy. Um, and during a time, I mean, we talked about it a little while ago, but um, wanting to get back into like getting like physical media and stuff, and then now all of a sudden it feels like they're like, okay, yeah, we're gonna like stop that. At least they gave like games that have already been announced and stuff for the rest of the year and the upcoming year, the chance to still go physical and stuff. But it also brings the question of like, how is it gonna affect systems moving forward? Because storage is like another thing. I mean, some of these games, they're like almost 200 gigs for console, and that's not a lot of like space to work with. Like right now, I think I have like 4 or 5 games downloaded, and I'm at like max capacity. Like it's ridiculous because then they also drop the updates, and that's adding like another 5, 10 gigs if it's like a really big update kind of thing. And the fact that you can't save the games on a separate hard drive, that's like the biggest thing. Because you could save PS4 games on a hard drive and then they can still be played and, you know, booted up from the hard drive. But for PS5, they have to be on the actual console. So I don't know. It's a lot of more negatives than positives, I would say, for sure. The only positive that I could think about is like maybe now some companies can focus on like really cool like collector editions where like sure it is still just like a digital code kind of thing, but you get a bunch of like cool stuff. Like a good example was Gun Nose, the Kickstarter that they had. It was all digital, but as you went up in the tiers, it was like really dope shit. It was like a vinyl for the opening theme. It was the uh, art book. You can like get your name in the game, not just as like a a backer or contributor, but like an actual like character. You know, cool shit like that. Um, that's like the only thing that I'm hopeful for. But overall, this is like a massive like L, I think.
Yeah, I actually agree with everything you just said. That point you made about the PCs and Steam being the first thing, I actually didn't think about that either until you pointed that out because now I don't even remember the last like gaming PC that I ever saw with like a disc thing in it. I don't know how many
That's what I'm
years
saying.
it's been where you can even put a disc into a PC, at least a gaming one. At least, don't get me wrong. There's still traditional business PCs that have, you know, your classic Dell PCs will always have a disc port. But yeah, an actual gaming one. So that is kind of crazy. But I kind of always knew, for me at least, I kind of always knew maybe they were going to go down the digital only route because, like you said, pre-ordering some games, a lot of places just gave you a code to download the game. There was no actual like physical case copy. Like it's like, oh, if you pre-order it, um, here's a code for you to download digitally, or like you can always just pick the option to get a digital pre-order, which is fine. But I also knew it was changing because like some of the games that came out, they were giving you digital like soundtracks or digital art, which was kind of like I guess cool. Like you just punch in the UR code and you get to see like some of the digital art, and I guess you get to. It's cool because you get to keep that whenever, but it's like, what are you actually gonna do with this digital art and or digital? I guess the soundtrack is more meaningful because you can listen to it whenever. But I just always kind of knew they were going down that route. Um, but for me, like the negative thing is like you said, at least for Sony, I feel like with them making everything digital, the problem with Sony, there's two big problems. Oh, actually three, but I'm not going to cover one of them because the third one you already brought up, which is the memory thing. That's a whole other problem. You have to go out of your way to buy storage and stuff like that. That's just an additional problem within a problem. The two I'm bringing up is specifically the way Sony works as a business. One, Sony doesn't have a good return policy, so if everything is digital, they kind of have to change the opportunity for people to realize that like I might spend money and not like this game, and there's going to be no way to like try some of these games because one, PlayStation just doesn't offer demos. A lot of these companies aren't going to offer free weekends for you to try the game. So there's really no way for you to see if you like the game without maybe watching someone play, which I know is always going to be hard to watch rather than play yourself. Um, so the return policy to me has to be changed around because I you need the option to be able to buy the game and maybe realize that you don't like it, have like 48 hours to return it to get your money back. And then secondly, I think when it comes to digital copies, Sony I think is going down this direction because they really get to control the amount of percentages that the games go on sale for, and Sony is just not known for really doing massive discounted sales like Xbox or Steam or these other companies. Sony will not put games like lower than 50% unless they're like really old and they just don't care about it making money. A lot of the new games you're always gonna have to just dig into your wallet and buy full price, which kind of sucks, but that's just the way Sony is. And I feel like that needs to change too. Like there's got to be chances for the games to go on sales, or at least have the company that runs these games pick the amount of a percentage of the game goes on sale for. Like if they want the game to be cheaper, so more people play, or even go free to play some weekends, it just makes sense for them to change their market. But yeah, I think it's gonna affect a lot of the gaming stuff. Maybe it does give them the opportunity to do what you said, and maybe they, can figure out a way to still do like statues and other pre-order things like that. But I'm just kind of curious how this is gonna affect other gaming companies as far as like Nintendo and Xbox. Xbox, from what we know, hasn't announced that they're not getting rid of this yet. I don't know if they will or not, but I could see like everyone going down that route eventually.
Yeah, I think Nintendo's like slowly working towards that. Because I mean, like I said, there's some where their physical uh, copy is literally just like the what would be the case for the cartridge, and it's just a code inside.
Yeah. Well, then that makes sense. I mean, I guess Nintendo would make more sense to me to do it first before Xbox. I mean, before PlayStation. But PlayStation doing it so soon doesn't really make sense to me. But I feel like if anything, maybe they're trying to cut down on the cost for producing so many discs, and maybe focusing on um, spending more money on their consoles, especially with PC parts or just computer parts being more expensive, or a lot of the gaming stuff just being more expensive. I mean, dude, graphic kits and stuff like that are up to like $1,000 by themselves now. So it's like a lot of these things are just costly money to make. And obviously, Sony is gonna have to try to do something to um, combat PCs being so expensive and them not being able to make another system like a new gen. So they're definitely gonna have to try to figure out a way to incentivize the product that they have now, which I'm assuming would be like trying to up like the frame rates and or like storage memory, or maybe if they remove the disc thing, just being able to add another capability to the console. So we'll see.
Yeah, and then there's even like because my old car had a CD player, so I have a shit ton of CDs. Uh, my new one does not, and I hate it. But there's like add-ons that you can get where you could just like plug into it, and then you can start playing the CDs. So maybe they can like incorporate that, so then all the stuff that you already have on disc, you can like still play. Uh, and then like maybe have like a very like limited amount of physical copies for like future releases kind of thing, or it sounds like shitty to say but like a limited edition like physical thing. um I don't know, I don't like it.
Yeah, I guess I didn't even think about that too. That's another problem within a problem because when I remember when the PS5 first came out, obviously you had the disc version of the PS5 and you had the regular version of the PS5, which is like the digital only. When the disc version came out, the people who had PS4 games, because remember when the PS5 came out, there was not a lot of PS5 games to start. Like when it first came out, obviously there's now only everyone's just used to just being PS5 games. But for a while, some games only had PS4 versions. Some games still only have PS4 versions. Apex was like that for a long time. They didn't have their own PS5 version for a really long time. And what I meant is like if you had the disc version, you just throw in your PS4 disc and you got the game back for free. Pretty much, you get to just play the game through the PS5 as long as you had the PS4 disc, which was cool. And at the end of the PS4 cycle, a lot of the PS4 games, when you bought them, had digital code upgrades for the PS5 version for free, like Spider-Man and other games. If you end up playing them on PS4 first, they automatically just came by default with a PS5 upgrade code because you bought the game. My thing is now is if the PS5 is going to switch to disc only, and we're probably going to get obviously like a PS5 Pro or something here soon. I know they're not making a PS6, but there'll be a new model for PS5 at least. Eventually, like in a year span or two, maybe people's PS5s will end up being no good, or something can happen, or they just want to upgrade to upgrade. All those people who have PS5 discs, how are you going to accumulate them re-owning those games? Like they are, like I'm assuming it's going to be like what happened to people who switched to PC, like myself. There's a lot of games that I wouldn't enjoy playing and still play, but I'd have to rebuy them, which would be the case for PS5 people. I mean, if there's people who have hundreds of PS5 actual discs, when they switch to a digital only, there is just no way for them to get those games back because a lot of those games just don't offer digital codes. So I'm assuming that's going to be a big negative for the community because rebuying games is going to be tough.
Yeah, especially if you like just bought like a disc version. Like I don't already just bought, like literally just bought a disc version, and now like that disc drop, he's like, I better get a discount because this is insane. Because now people only have literally a year and a half to play something that's on disc.
Yeah, I mean, as long as I'm assuming as long as they keep the same PS5 with discs in it, they'll always be able to play. But like going forward, they're not going to be able to get new games disc. So I don't know. It's just super weird to me because, like I said, if something happens to their PlayStation and they need a new one, all those discs kind of become, um, not usable. And my thing is too that Sony, I assume, is going to be greedy, and even though they're going to discontinue discs, games that are expensive, even though discs are gone, are still going to be expensive. Probably, I don't see them discounting discs just because they're no longer being made, which is going to suck. Um, because I know people will still sell like popular games for what they believe they go in. If not, they could even skyrocket the price of old disc games because now disc will be like kind of rare. So if you want a certain game that was popular, the disc version might be just more expensive for like the collecting aspect of the hobby, I guess. But that's a whole other problem. One other problem. I don't know. I'm not sure. I definitely agree with you about like not being able to like own things is kind of crazy. And luckily, I can't remember like that many disc versions of games that like flopped or got shut down. A lot of the ones I'm thinking of have been like just digital free to play ones, like X Defiant or High Guard or something like that. Those weren't really like disc games, but I'm curious to see like what happens for like the popular games that people got disc copies of, like Elden Ring or like Expedition 33. Like, dude, if those people ever lose their console or like they have to get a new one and they have the disc version of those games, those are like staples in games that people play all the time. And I don't see the price for Elden Ring dropping anytime soon. I don't see the price for Expedition 33 dropping anytime soon. Those games are still like at least $50. They may have dropped like from $70 to $50, but I mean it's still $50 for a game that you've already played is just kind of crazy.
Yeah, the having a rebuy aspect is a tough one too, because I don't know. Because to be fair, I don't think the PS6 is gonna come out anytime soon, so I don't think that that's something to like really worry about like right now, right now. Um, but when it does, it's like, is it gonna be a situation where like with this, like what you said, like there being like a PS6 version that you can like get a free upgrade for, but like maybe just certain titles have it, and then other ones would just kind of be like stuck to the PS5 kind of thing, or like I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I'm confused about. But like you said, even though there is no PS6 coming out, there needs to be a way for like PS5 to transfer to PS5 because all those digital games that people buy on PS5 are fine. But like if they buy like the disc version of them and they don't have a digital code tied to them, it's like they lose that game specifically. Like for me, example, like a good example that I look at it is like, okay, when I switch to PC, like yeah, it sucks that I have to bite the bullet and buy some of these popular games again. Yes, I could wait for them to go on Steam sale or whatever because Steam is a little bit better with sales. But either way, I'm biting the bullet to buy a game that I've already played. But at least it like makes a little sense because it's like okay, I'm on PC now. I'm gonna get like a different experience. Like my frames can be raised.
Mm,
I can get mods. But like look at it from the perspective of someone who's a console gamer. If I somehow I don't know, just let's just say my disc PS5 just the power cord fucks up or the HDMI is like fucked or something and or I just unfixable and I have to actually get another PS5. When I go to get that new PS5, I am essentially spending money to buy the same game with no like upgrade attached to it. Like I'm going to literally get the same graphics, the same frames per second. Like I can only get 120 frames. Like nothing is really changing about the game. Like besides me just having to like re essentially own the game on the same
mm.
console. So it like becomes like a problem of like wow, like I literally I'm spending $120 twice pretty much for the same game, which kind of like sucks to some people, or I would think would suck. At least for me, it would suck, and it would probably even steer me away from wanting to buy that game again. Like honestly, like I'd be like, dude, I like okay, even though I've played I don't know Elden Ring so many times, like maybe I'm not gonna play it when I get a new PS5 because I just don't want to spend $60 on it again.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying too about like the price thing, because now that you don't have a physical version, how is that like saving gonna be allocated to the players kind of thing? Because obviously the company is gonna be saving money, like any company uh, making the game, right?
Yeah.
But like on our end, how are we gonna see like any kind of additional benefit kind of thing? Because I can guarantee you they're just gonna stick with the same pricing, which is kind of ridiculous. Um, so then how like there's really no like benefit to the players, um, like in any aspect really.
Yeah, I like and for the way I'm looking at it, and this is me personally. I think with everything that's been happening with Sony lately, like with the price changes going back up to being super expensive, no disc, this happening, I think if Sony didn't make exclusive again, meaning that like if you didn't have like PlayStation, like we said, you wouldn't be able to play some of the newer games. Like Wolverine won't be able to be played on other things. God of War won't be able to play on other things. And by saving grace, if GTA was not a console only thing right away, I I could definitely see the players switching to PC and or maybe even Xbox and Sony losing its player base. Sony steadily or consoles have been slowly losing their player base to PC because obviously like with the price of a PC and the price of a console, it's like the consoles are starting to slowly climb up there. Like a PS5 is getting ready to be like almost $900 of tax again if you don't have one, which is kind of absurd. So it's like if I'm going to spend $900, I could just buy a PC and then I get to play Sony, Xbox, and Steam games all in one go. And a lot of like the PC games are just easily making it, usable for a controller. So it's like that's probably like people's biggest turnoff if they don't want to like learn mouse keyboard. But like I just think if there wasn't exclusive, we'd be in a really bad state right now because I do see a lot of comments on like people's YouTube videos or just like my TikTok or Twitter. A lot of people are fed up with Sony now. A lot of people are like, if they don't start like protesting against Sony, like they're not gonna make a change. Kind of like the whole situation with like Nintendo and stuff like that. I know for a while people were kind of like boycotting, the price of the regular Nintendos, and then they came out with like the lights to like benefit like the cost of the game, and it was really good for the community. But like they made a change, like the community came together and were like, "Yo, we're gonna like boycott this to get a change." So like I don't think until we do that to Sony as a community, nothing's probably going to change. And like I said, I think their saving grace right now is exclusives because even me, like I've been contemplating whether like I want to like sell my PS5 or get rid of it, but then in the back of my head, I'm like, okay, cool, like you know what, I want to play Wolverine. I want to maybe play GTA when it comes out. That's like the reason that I'm still like sticking around, kind of like it's the reason that keeps me coming back. Sony exclusives will always be the reason that I come back. If there's ever like a Sly Cooper game or something, like I'm probably gonna play on console rather than I'm gonna play on my PC. And I think um, they need to just do more because at the end of the day, like I will always be a PlayStation person, even though I'm on PC. Like PlayStation will always like have my heart. It's my first console. It's or my first favorite console. Like so it's just a part of me. But I just feel like if they don't make the correct changes, the player base could really like pivot even more.
Yeah, now that you mentioned it about like PC kind of like being the preferred thing. I don't know if this is confirmed or not, so I might just be talking out of my ass. But I saw it somewhere, and I can't remember where they were speculating that GTA 6 on the PS5 was going to be capped at 30 frames just because of how insane everything is. So that's another question too. Is like with it just being like digital, how like there's a lot of shit that they gotta adjust to the actual console that I don't think would be even like financially beneficial for anyone at that point to go towards a console, because at that point you might as well just save up and then like even with like my PC, I don't have like the most up to date stuff in there, but it can handle shit still. And then if I do need to upgrade something, it's just like, okay, I can swap out this one part and like I'm good. With the console, you're not gonna be able to do that kind of shit.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I think like I said, I think that that's what I'm saying. I think if it wasn't for the exclusives being tied to consoles, I just don't see an open reality where people are willing to stay on console. A lot of people that I know have just slowly been switching to PC or they want to switch to PC. It's just because it's like if you're already going to spend that much money on gaming in general, the PC does benefit you, and there's just so much more to do value wise with a PC, especially when it comes to like being able to play like classic games like your PS2 and your PS3 games, and then you get access to Xbox games. For now, we can play Sony games until the new exclusives come out, and obviously Steam has its own library and stuff like that. And then like modding is a whole different thing. It just reignites the fandom of wanting to play a certain game because playing with mods and certain games can make anything better. Um, this is why I think, like I said, if there was no GTA for console only and there wasn't like its exclusives, it would be a bigger drop in player base or people switching. But obviously, we know we're not going to get GTA on PC anytime soon because, like you said, it is a problem on PS5 already. Like the one, just that game being ported in general on PS5 is already going to be hard because of the nature of the game. And then it's even going to be even harder on PC because like they're obviously going to allow PCs to be able to like run them on higher frames, but like dude, like GTA 5 took forever for your your PC to be able to run it without exploding pretty much. Like even if you had like a top end PC, and I can imagine a game like GTA 6 which is going to be like Unreal Engine 6 probably or Unreal Engine 5, I mean, sorry. Unreal Engine 5 and then they're going to have like a higher frame cap and the graphics are going to be fucking insane. So it's like I'm not even sure my PC can play that game when it first comes out. I'm not even sure I can run GTA 5. Like there is still certain games that I have that just I can't even run them on like mild graphics. And a game like that, I think is gonna look so good that my PC is probably gonna have to be playing like I'm on console, running that shit like on like 60 frames instead of 120 or some shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, I would see. I think it would be more beneficial if you're gonna if there is no games. This is my final opinion. If there's no games for you to want to stay on PS5, I think I wouldn't like upgrade from like the I'm gonna just call it the PS5 Slim if it's called that. But I wouldn't upgrade from your PS5 to PS5 Slim. I would just keep your PS5 now, try to keep it in decent condition. Maybe look if you're a hardcore gamer, I honestly do recommend probably switching to PC. It's just obviously um, the pricing is better. There's no subscription. I mean, that's probably another big problem that we didn't even talk about is like Sony's subscription is kind of crazy. Like on top of playing for the game, I have to be able to pay a subscription to even play online. Like everything is pretty much WoW at this point. Like I have to pay a membership to have the freedom to play multiplayer games, which is
Hmm.
kind of crazy to think about. It's just that price is getting changed. Um, and back in the day, I don't know if people remember, they probably didn't use it like but like Sony's subscription used to be like an all-in-one subscription. Like you used to be able to download like PlayStation Plus games. You were able to use like the rentals, like their own rental system that they have or whatever. And then now they have like this complicated shit where you have like PlayStation Plus like premium, essential, fucking gold, gold plus, and then each tier gives you like different things to do. So it's like so confusing. Like one tier I might not be able to get the free PlayStation Plus like month game or whatever. Um, one tier I might not be able to like stream a certain amount of games with my friends, etc. Like everything is just tied to a bunch of like bullshit between tiers. So it's kind of confusing. So it is kind of annoying. Um, that PlayStation is like that, and then on top of that, like PlayStation also has like each company has their own subscription thing. Like you have like EA Plus, Ubisoft Plus. It's like, bro, like, come on, like how many subscriptions do I need to get benefits to play games? It's kind of like you're spreading your money all around these subscriptions to be able to play games on PlayStation, which is kind of weird. That's another problem. But yeah, I think if you're gonna make the correct decision, or at least in my opinion, would be to either minimize the amount of. I'm gonna take it back, not just get a PC. If you can afford to get a PC, I would switch because it gives you the freedom to play more games. And like I said, the PlayStations are just gonna keep getting expensive for now. So I think you go from PS5 to PC until a PS6 ever drops, then maybe switch back to console if it's really intriguing. But I think for now you just keep your PS5 good condition. Either minimize the games you're willing to play on PS5, like really stick to the games you like. So in case like you know you don't want to get the digital only PS5 next, just try to keep yours mint so you can continue to play the games you have disc wise. And then if not, just play like a PC. I think that'll be my final take. I don't really. It's really hard to give an opinion because like I don't have that many disc copies on the PS in the PS5 era. Like I just had a digital PS5 to start, so I didn't really struggle with getting digital or physical copies. So I don't really have an attachment to physical copies. But for some people, I know they have a lot of physical copies, and they collect. Some people collect physical copies, like we just talked about this in a podcast before when it came to like things we want to collect. Like I've always wanted to collect like gaming consoles and discs and stuff like that, but it's like I feel like I'm just not even ever looking out for discs like that because all my shit's digital. Like Shinobi said, like even my PC and my PlayStation, it's like I've had a fucking system where I have to put a disc in since like my PS4, the first one.
That's kind of crazy to think about. I have the disc version. Um, for me, it's more of like just the convenience of not having to like fight for storage, like uninstalling and like reinstalling shit, especially for like multiplayer stuff that every once in a while we'll like get the itch to play. So then it's like, well, shit, now I have to uninstall something, and it's like I'm, playing a game for like a let's play or like trying to make a video on, and then I got like my offline games that I still play, but like all the homies want to like play this game again, and it's like I don't know. I I've always liked physical copies. It's just something about like knowing like yes, this is mine, and like it'll forever be mine. Just that sense of security. It's weird that now we're in a time where that's not going to be a thing anymore.
Yeah, it's also hard because like well now at least like I said I can't remember like a AAA game or like a disc game that you bought where like it got taken away. I'm trying to think off the top of my head. I mean I guess maybe like the recent one is like Anthem, but like Anthem was out for so many years before like the servers got shut down. If you have like the digital version of Anthem or the disc version, I think you can always play like the campaign by yourself, but like obviously like the actual online servers got shut down, so that's the different thing. But like think about games like X Defiant, I guess, or like maybe like Impulse, this new one, or High Guard. If those were like purchasable games and you buy them only digitally, by the way, and you had to buy them even if it was $20, and they just got like completely shut down or removed, like not even being able to be downloaded anymore. Like you can't even open those games or like download them. They're just dead in your library. That's where it kind of gets like confusing or like scary because now like when you go to buy a game, um, I'm assuming a lot of these games are gonna try to go back to like price tags. Like Impulse was kind of like the start of it. They're like a small dev team that said, "Hey, we're not just gonna make our game free to play. We're gonna make it $20." I could see a lot of these games going back to making their games like at least $10. Um, and when you spend that like much money on a game, even if it's just $10, like the possibility of you losing it is like crazy. And like you said, there's no way of you having like a physical copy or nothing of it. So it's like it's literally like just gone, just shadowed out in your library. It's like sent to the shadow realm, like IRL. So it's like I'm
Yeah,
kind
and
of
like
weird about it. Like it's
yeah,
scary.
yeah, like multiplayer games like I get it because like that's their whole thing, right? Uh but for me it's more of like games that have either that story mode and that multiplayer or just story mode. Like some games now, even if it's single player, you have to be like connected to the internet. For what? It's usually like microtransactions, but they can like now use that, and like if they shut it down, like it's just completely useless at that point, which is completely stupid when you like you think about it with it just being a solo game instead of like a multiplayer game.
Yeah, I agree. And that also circles back to having a subscription to do all that because you need a subscription to connect to the internet.
Yep.
Yeah, Sony, I think has some weird business things that need to change. I think for me, for it to make sense for you to stay Sony to Sony, one, like you said, you either have to be like a huge Sony guy, like so much of a Sony guy or a PlayStation guy that you just can't play any other console. And two, I think that they just need to change their business model, at least like as far as returns. Like if they're gonna keep the subscription thing, cool. Like I'm used to it already. It's Sony. Who cares? If they're going to go digital only, I just think there needs to be more freedom on like the amount of discounts we can buy the game for, and then slowly start to make returns more of a thing. Because if you're gonna do digital only, returns and or demos have to be more prominent, like in your game or in your system or in your
Yeah.
store at all. Because how are you going to expect anyone to try for one, but play these games or buy these games or willing to spend $70 on a game without even being able to try the game? Because that's always like the risk. I think about like people didn't think about it back then, but like this is why places like GameStop and stuff are still a thing because I can walk into my GameStop, spend $70 on a brand new game like Elden Ring, go home, have a week to play the game, and then if I just don't like this game, I just take it back, get my money back. Like yeah,
Yeah.
like GameStop isn't like the most popular thing in the world no more, but like the reason that it still exists is because of their pro membership, their return policy, their insurance. Like they still have things that like have people going. Like it's just a thing. Like and if there, as long as there is physical copies or ways to return stuff to GameStop, it'll always be open. So I think until Sony like adds that into their own thing, it just won't ever like GameStop or like it won't change. Like it won't die and people will like be willing to buy more games because I know plenty of people like who are always hesitant. Like even our friend group, like, even me, like all of our friends want to play a game. I feel like I know our friend group. We might not play the game for long, and then I see the price of a game, like the game they want to try is like $50, and I'm like, dude, like I don't even know if I want to say yeah to try this because this is like $50. It might last a week, so it's like
Yeah.
there's really no risk. Like it's better like if I had the freedom to spend the $50, return the game if I for one if I didn't like playing the first time we played with all of our friends, be able to return the game, then yeah. Or like for me, like whenever it was like a game like that, like I just chose when I had disc, at least for the PS4. Like when we were gonna try a game, I at least tried to always buy a disc because one, if I like the game, take it back, return it. Two, I could always just turn around and sell it myself on the street, like offer up Facebook Marketplace. Either way, I got like some sort of return on the game if I didn't like it. And now with digital only, it just makes everything more complicated. And if there's no return policy, like I said, it's just going to be tough.
Yeah. This is why Best Buy was goaded.
Yeah, I think anyone that sells games right now is still going to have a beneficial thing until like I said, until every company makes them or makes their things digital only. I just think that a lot of places will still be beneficial to buy games from because of returns.
Yeah, or even if they like start doing some, is GameFly still a thing? Like I remember that shit being like the only saving grace like after Blockbuster got shit out.
I think GameFly might be a thing still. I actually not too sure on that. But yeah, renting services I think are also kind of cool. I know, like I said, PlayStation has their own renting one, which is like the PS Now or whatever, where you can play like the classic games, which honestly is a scam because like you have to stream those classic games, which requires you to have one good internet. Who cares about like the service part? Like you have to have like good with you have to have a good like band internet like with band to even stream the game because you're streaming in it like you're streaming the game. It's not like a physical like I'm gonna download the game and play it, so there's no input delay. Like there is hella input delay. Your internet has to be good enough to withhold the stream, and sometimes like the drops if you're not, especially if you're not wired, trying to play like a PlayStation Now game can be like really bad. Like your game is just like either crashing or not loading very well. There's so many like backdraws to like it being like a rental service.
And that's crazy. I didn't know that.
Yeah, like if you want to play like those PS1 games, it's like opening the emulator to play the game, but like when you have like an emulator on like on your phone or like a PC or like just in
Yeah.
general, like you open it and it's like okay, like the emulator actually simulates the game being yours. Nah, this their simulator is ran through like an online network, so like the game is ran based off of like how good your internet is. And I like I said, I'm not saying you have to have PlayStation Plus. Well, obviously you have to have PlayStation Now. You have to have that subscription, but like you just have to have good enough internet to like stream the game. Almost like if you're streaming TV, but obviously when you're playing a game that's interactive, like the network has to be like top tier, or you're gonna have like input
Yeah.
delay, or it's gonna feel like laggy, or the frames are gonna drop, the quality is gonna drop. Like, dude, I'm already playing a PS1 game, and if my internet's not good enough, my quality is like worse than what it would look on an actual if I just plugged in the PS1 and played on the PS1.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think we'll go ahead though and wrap it up. We've been yapping a little bit about PlayStation. We just wanted to talk about this whole digital thing. I feel like PlayStation has been on the topic or on the pod with a lot of crazy changes going on, from going exclusive only, price changes, no disc now. Um, I guess console wars coming back because of like the whole exclusive thing and all the game shows and stuff like that. By no means are we saying that like I obviously we're not saying that we hate Sony or like this is like bad. We both still like Sony. I mean, he'll always be a Sony guy. I'll probably always be a Sony guy. Do I agree with every change they're making? No. Do I think like I could ever go back to like fully playing Sony? No, either. At least for me. But I don't hate the company at all. I always love it. I mean, they have my favorite game of all time. They have multiple of my favorite game series. Um, the Sony Golden Boys will always be some of my favorite games. Like, I'll always, like I said, love Sony. It's so crazy to think about the decisions that they're making that are like almost ruining the community that I care so much about. It's kind of crazy.
I agree.
Yep. I mean, that's really all we can say. Other than that, I'm gonna let him do his outro. I'll do my outro. We will see you guys in the next episode. I'll give you guys some details in the next episode after he does the outro, and then we'll go ahead and hop out of here.
Yep. Just appreciate y'all for tuning in and uh, I guess recommend any hidden gems that we can still find on disc before they die.
That is true. Um, I think he answered that, or you guys answered his question. I'm actually gonna add a question too. Maybe drop your favorite last actual physical pre-order bundle that you guys got. Like for me, it was like the Horizon Zero Dawn metal case one. So actually, maybe drop your favorite memory of getting a actual pre-ordered um, disc version of it, because I know those are kind of gone too now, like especially steelbooks. So maybe drop that. Other than that, it has been your boy Drift. All my links will be in the description below. If you guys want to see us live streaming, go ahead and go over to Twitch. Shinobi's YouTube will be in the description below. We'll see you guys in the next pod. We actually do have a guest. That's what I want to talk about. There will be a guest on the next pod. So stay tuned for that. We will see you guys in the next episode, and peace.